You mentioned earlier that that she's in her 20s and she should be doing this, right?
No. I said you're in your 20s and that's for that. Hopefully that's not what you choose to do.
That's
but
not what that's for.
Your 20s is
I would never
take
a girl serious 25 and older. 25 and
We're
older,
not talking about taking someone seriously. We're just talking about people in their 20s doing young, stupid shit like we all at this table have done.
That's the problem is 20s are not young, especially for a female.
Immature, whatever you want to call it. It's a youthful mentality.
26 is young.
26 is young?
Successful guys go.
Maybe not in guy world, but 26, you're a kid.
You're a kid. A very successful man who married a woman that is literally the same age as her, and he's a billionaire. It happens. And he, like, they're.
We know a lot of billionaires around here. Like,
she's beautiful.
But a lot of billionaires have no game still. There's some fucking. I used to live in San Francisco. Some lame ass billionaires. I was still all the
billionaires.
You know what's interesting?
They would beg me to bring girls to the house because they had no game.
You know what? When I was going through this and I was looking at all the good for all the girls. Every single one of them alluded to being able to meet men of a higher status and being in rooms with people, etc. And I was like, oh wow, you're able to meet all these guys.
But they're gonna.
How do you meet women?
Huh?
How do you meet women? Don't you meet women like this? So the same way how I meet men is by being in the same room as them. So like,
he's going somewhere. He
probably doesn't even meet women with the attitude that he carries.
Dang.
Nice. Anyway.
I'm just saying.
That was a great comeback. Yeah, that was a great comeback. It hurts my feelings. You do realize that men and women are different, right?
Totally. Oh, yeah.
So me being able to get in a room with successful men means I need to be able to provide some kind of value to be allowed to be in that room.
You have to be one of the
versus you. Men.
I could just be pretty.
It's hard for us.
Yes.
You're jealous of that.
Not at all.
You tried to, we made it in there.
You just tried to make an argument and conflate that a man being in a room with a bunch of millionaires is the same as a woman being in a room with a bunch of millionaires. You try to conflate the two, and I'm telling you.
Have you been in that
one
room?
has to be skilled and the other one doesn't. So it's very different.
But that is a skill. Being beautiful, getting yourself to be in that room is a skill. That's not something that just happens. You have to know how to speak. You have to know how to, like...
I thought you just know how to take...
No, not at all.
Which you just have to lay down for, right?
Okay, let's say I take your skill set, right?
All about.
Let's say I take a book out your page, a page out your book. Let's say I took your skill set, took your brain, and put it in a man's fucking body. Do you think you'd still be able to get into those rooms with those successful millionaires that you've met with and traveled and done all this?
I just said that. The reason why a women...
Are we referring to us women or all women? Because there's women in the boardroom. There's women that can keep up the same with the men that are right up in there that can keep the conversation.
Those are usually the ugly ones. I just want to I hate.
So we're talking about pretty or ugly?
Not all the time.
No, so if you're talking about bosses want what they want, right?
Sure.
And a part of being a boss and having a lot of money is convenience, right? You get things your way. So there's no way that you're generally looking for the woman who's like the board, she's on the board, she's a CEO, she's a boss babe. Because here's the reality of human existence. We use our best move, right? And so the reason that the ugly girls are successful is because that's how they get respect, attention.
I think there's a lot of beautiful, successful women. I think that's not fair. Nowadays, there's so many beautiful, successful women.
They all use their and their looks to get in position.
It's a skill, though. Is it not a skill? Is it not a skill?
Wait, I have a question for you guys.
Ladies, look, because we're going on a tangent here.
Because men are thirsty for women's bodies.
You're going on a tangent.
And that's why I said we need to start beating up sex.
So we're fighting against, like, human nature.
All I'm saying is that when all of you gave the good, pretty much all of you alluded in some degree to being able to meet higher status, successful men and getting in certain rooms.
Yeah, but without me doing without me being a successful porn star, I would never even meet those people because they wouldn't care about me. They wouldn't care about a random girl.
She keeping it real right now.
They care because I've been in movies. They care about that. They want to be around me.
And their looks bring something to the table because you don't want to be in the room with the ugly girl. So they're bringing the skills to the table.
I have a question for the guys. I have a question for the guys.
What I'm saying is that it's way easier for you as a woman to get in a room.
Easier? Yes. Hell yes, it's easier.
So let me finish my point before you guys interrupt and everything else like that. It's way easier for you guys to go in a room. But you earlier were trying to say, well, how do you get in a room, blah, blah, blah. And that's ridiculous because for me to get in a room with successful men, I have to bring value. For you to get in a room with successful men, you don't have to bring any value.
This is value.
We are not the same.
This is value right here.
It is not value.
This is value.
It is not. It is not. And I'll tell you why.
To me, that is value.
It is not value, and I'll tell you exactly why. As he said earlier,
we are
like I said before,
beings, and you're human being.
When men bring attractive women into a general location, they're bringing them in for their beauty. And beauty, unfortunately for you guys, is common. Successful men are not, however.
How about big?
So
I like that.
Why are you giving low IQ responses to things that I'm saying?
Because I'm low IQ, apparently.
I can see that clearly.
Incredibly
I speak two languages
exactly
too.
why.
Incredibly
if you were not a, you would never be able to get in these rooms because you're.
I'm a woman.
Holy shit!
As a man, you just bring more aspects.
You must
more
bring value. You must bring value. Women get to live in a world where they're and still be able to get in rooms with successful men. I'm not angry about that, but I'm going to sit here and tell you.
Can be useless. Maybe can be, not are useless.
They can be useless. The point is, there's no burden of like, look, she's still babbling. There's no burden of performance, okay? But as a man, you must bring value. I'm not saying that women don't bring value. I'm just saying you're not expected
this
to.
Is the value.
That's fair.
Just come.
It's different.
And it's fine.
Clarifying.
So when she tried to sit here and conflate, well, you get in rooms with people, it's not the same at all.
Radically
You
different.
can't conflate the two.
Yeah, we would work our ass off for years.
Well, can you consider the
Everyone
fact that she said her value is this, but every woman around the table also has breasts? Whereas in the case of Myron, like, okay, well, what's your value? He says, I have a background. I work high up in government. I did things that are important to national security. Okay,
one of the biggest podcasts, too.
Right. And so we can all identify things that are...
So what does that make you since you're on it?
I don't even know who said that. But the point is, we can identify a unique value add that is unique to us. So if a woman chose to be with Myron, Fresh, or Marquett, or anyone else here, they would say, okay, you know, this thing about him like really turns me on about him. I like this thing about him. Whereas if you just limit yourself to saying like, this is my value, one, it's ironic because you're objectifying yourself as a woman, and two, you're limiting your value to something that every single other woman has.
Ooh, talk to the Marquett. Damn.
I can see your point. I understand where you're coming from. I can full circle. I see the points.
So how about this? How about this? There are some cases. I had 2 female squadron commanders in the Air Force. There's sometimes where women do have a burden of performance. There is no man who doesn't have a burden of performance, unless you are born incredibly rich or you live in your mother's basement and you've totally chosen to take yourself out. We all have a burden of performance, and so there are occasions where a woman is either very, very attractive, or she's, sitting there as a wife where she doesn't have a burden of performance. And the thing is, as a man, if we do that, then we end up with no sex, no money, no nothing.
And here's the other thing, too. I was going somewhere with this. The reason why I said that I found it interesting that all of you have been able to be in rooms with successful, attractive, handsome men, etc., that are worldly, etc. Only one girl here, I think, is married.
Two.
So what does that say?
Two.
Some people don't want to be married.
But she still sleeps with other guys, though.
Yeah.
So we don't call no one.
Yeah, and then she recently got married. So I just found it interesting that like all these women have access to the top tier guys, but they're not married. What does that say?
What does it say? I'm curious what you think it says.
What do you think it says?
Okay.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with your point. I don't think we should be objectifying ourselves. I think a lot of women that are beautiful and they don't have a they use their body, and that's what they have to give. And there's a lot of beautiful women that have a brain, and there's also women that aren't good looking, and then they'll go and they'll get success. It's like the men who are 5 foot, and then they end up being billionaires, and we'll settle for them because they got that. That's what they're bringing to the table. That's what you're bringing to the table. It's different, yeah.
I found it funny that she said 5 foot billionaire, but I'm settling for that. Isn't that? Did you notice that?
Yeah, settled for billionaire.
That's the truth.
That's precisely why so many women stay single, is because they elevate their market worth and think they deserve more. When reality is they deserve.
And when we're throwing around the term billionaire casually, I think there's very few people who have a strong enough grip on mathematics to know how astronomical that figure actually is.
I think they're all high millionaires, most of these guys.
100 million.
Exactly. And then
I don't really know that many billionaires.
Right? I'm like,
there's not that many. I know guys worth.
There are. Here, I was going to ask you guys this. There's 756 billionaires in the United States, and how many? And they know all. And my question is, guys, do you think a guy worth 4 or 5 million could make a woman think he's a billionaire?
Totally. Yeah.
I'm a billionaire.
I'm going to be all the way a million.
You can rent the jet.
I'm not talking.
I was listening very closely to her. Your guy's not a billionaire.
Yeah, I'm not talking about you, Lucy, specifically.
The guy you were talking about, he wasn't a billionaire.
I'm not talking about you specifically, Lucy.
And when
but
we talk facts and opinions, that's an opinion.
There's 9 billionaires in the state of Nevada, and 4 of them are divorced women, or one of them, Sheldon Adelson's wife. So in that case, my point is, I think often, most of the time, when I hear women say, I've dated a billionaire, they're dating some guy maybe worth 2 or 3 million and they
or their business deals with billions, but they don't have billions.
If I share details,
I don't know about yours.
I'm not talking about you, Lucy. I'm just saying I hear way too many women tell me that they're dating a billionaire and they don't know what that number means or how rare that is.
Yeah, and that's why when you were describing how he made his money, I was like, he's not a billionaire.
Do you guys
remember? Probably worth maybe 100 million, 200 million. But the thing is,
that's a lot of money still.
Let's just keep it $1 million. Most are terrible with. They don't understand how money works. 80% of the consumer base is female. 3/4 of the debt is women. Ooh. So women.
Girl math.
Rollo. Do you guys remember the show that we did? It was, well, Miguel was on the show with you guys, but it was Ken McElroy and George Gammon was on there, and Robert Kiyosaki was on there.
Yeah.
And then I think Justin Waller was in the room too, and we were all in the elevator, and we're like, how much money is in this elevator right now?
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I go, if you looked around at all those guys that were there, I mean, with the exception of maybe Justin Waller, like if you looked at those guys just walking on the street, you would not say, that guy's a billionaire, I'm going to go after that guy. You would not know the difference whether that guy is. And the only billionaire, the close billionaire that was in that room was Ken McElroy.
Yeah.
All the rest of them, they were worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Because he said he made his money in real estate. That's why I got skeptical.
Yeah.
Because I'm in real estate.
Ken McElroy is the only billionaire I know.
You know how much property you have to control to have a net worth of $1 billion?
Yeah, there's not.
That's why in my head I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way. He's probably worth a couple, maybe 100 million, 200 million.
There's some other things too, but I was nervous and I didn't want to go on a tangent, but.
I'm not sure. Well, and you got to remember, Ken McElroy remarried to a much younger woman.
If you're a woman making $60,000, you have not the foggiest idea of even what a millionaire is. And that's mostly what the case is. We have a lot of OF girls who are exaggerating their earnings, and they go on podcasts like this, and all of them act like they're balling. The average earning is $150 US per month. So the reality is, because they don't pay for things, especially when they're dating bosses. They don't know what things cost. I had a situation very quickly. I was dealing with a very good-looking young lady, Latina from the East Coast. She flew herself out, which I respect, because I'm not going to fly you out. She flew herself out, and I had a number of things arranged. It was Super Bowl weekend in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Super Bowl weekend.
So it was an expensive ticket too. Much respect.
So not only is everything expensive, I'm doing everything A1, right? So hotel,
can you please stop
with
the comments on the side? If he's speaking, shut up. Like, let him talk.
So,
incredible.
Long story short, at the end of the night, and I got 2 places in Vegas, right? And so I have a hotel set up with her, and I'm not going to pressure anybody. Like, if there's a flow, there's a flow. If there's not a flow, let's carry on, right? So we had a 2-night situation. So I dropped her back off at valet, and I said, do you want me to come up, or shall we say good night, I'll see you tomorrow morning? She says, why don't you come up? And then first thought in my head, I was like, okay, cool. You're trying to get maxed out. So I go upstairs, we're chopping it up. And then eventually, and when we sit down, it's the most awkward thing on earth. So there's this huge couch. I sit down in the middle. She sits down all the way at the edge. I'd never seen anything like this in my entire life. I was like, this is weird as hell. Now, as I said, I'm not going to press it. So we have like 5 minutes of conversation. I'll say, hey, I'll see you tomorrow for breakfast. We'll do X, Y, and Z. I'll see you in a bit. She's like, whoa, where are you going? Why are you leaving? I was like, because you're sitting as far as humanly possible without sitting on the floor. Mm-hmm. Like, you're sitting as far as possible. I was like, so I'm too valuable to be in a #MeToo scenario. I'm too valuable to be in a you pressure me. None of it. So I'm leaving. Why are you leaving? Let's talk about it. Oh, there's nothing to talk about. It's 1 a.m. and you invited me up to the suite at 1 a.m. There's not much to talk about at 1 a.m. I was like, you are supposed to be getting right now. And if you don't want to get smashed, then fantastic. I'm going to leave, but we're not going to sit and patty cake and chop it up. I got a number of events tomorrow. We can talk then. No, wait, hold on and talk. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm booking you a flight. What? Yeah, I was like, yep, I'm booking you a flight. You're flying out as soon as possible. Then she gets back to the East Coast and she texts me like, hey, I kind of thought about it. I understand. I want to pay you back for what you spent. Now, mind you, she flew herself out. Yeah. She said, I want to pay you back for what you spent, right? VIP Super Bowl tickets, the best suite in Crockford's, which is an ultra-luxury resort, dinner, everything the finest, right? I think she sent me like $400.
Which ended up playing girl math. That's what you're getting at.
She sent like $400, and I respect the fact that she tried, and I understand that this means something in her income, but I was like, I paid that to valet to park my car. Yeah. I paid that to valet and mind you, valet is free for me. Yeah. That was a tip to the valet. And it just annoyed me because I was like, see, like, we work so damn hard to get in position, and you can never appreciate it because you do not comprehend. Yeah. You want to say millionaire, you don't know what a millionaire is. Like, and it annoys me because, and then a girl will get a guy like me, and then she's like, oh, you work so much. Do you think I'm successful from not working? They all actually want an influencer so that the guy makes money while showing his cool lifestyle. Which I think most of these guys are broke anyways. But I say that to say, do not have the foggiest idea of what true prices are, what it really takes to earn the value of $1, and what a millionaire lifestyle is. Because I have $1 million in just cars. So people want to say they're a millionaire. They couldn't afford my cars and still be a millionaire. That's a lot of money. But women expect you to be able to switch a car. You know, they expect you to be able to get in here and get in there, and they don't realize how much it actually takes. And also, if you're living an Instagrammable lifestyle, how far $1 million does not go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
That's because women marry a lifestyle, not the man.
That is true.
They want the lifestyle.
It's just really crazy to me how often women are fooled. Like, say, oh yeah, I talked to this guy at the strip club and he owns Bitcoin. They're like, he's the president of. I heard a girl, I swear to God, a stripper at the Rounders say he's the president of Bitcoin. That's amazing. Like, it's like when you hear shit like that, it's like, bro, what the fuck is it? And they just get fooled. And then the other one is the guy who's doing something illegal or knows he's got to get his money out of there quick or doesn't want to pay taxes on it. We call it the drug dealer effect. So this guy has a ton of free time. He's got to spend his money really quick.
Talk about it.
And the girl feels like, oh, I'm dating a millionaire or a billionaire, and she's not. She's dating a dope dealer, and she doesn't have any of. And he has plenty of time. And then all of a sudden she finds a dude who's a square. He's not spending as much money because he's putting in a 401k, and she's like, he's boring. It's like, no, this guy right here is going to be generationally wealthy. You're dating a guy who's about to do 5 to 10 in fucking Victor.
That's right.